Ever get a letter so audacious you have to laugh before you get mad? Picture this. I'm a guy who moved to the mountains to write and be left alone, and on a Friday that felt like any other, I'm sipping coffee, looking out at golden light over 15 acres of peace. No neighbors, no barking dogs, no leaf blowers, just me, the pines, and the faint sound of wind. Then, down at my mailbox, right there between a realtor's flyer and a utility bill that probably isn't even mine, there's this creamy envelope with a shiny gold insignia on it, like something out of a bad country club dream. Summit Glade Estates Homeowners Association. The HOA. My first thought. Nice try. I checked before I bought. My land sits right outside their development, never signed up for their bake sales or their bylaws. I tear it open anyway. Why not? The inside is as ridiculous as the outside. Dear resident, please prepare your guest accommodations and landing area by tomorrow at 2 p.m. Our incoming delegation includes VIPs from the governor's office. They want to use my property, my house, my deck, my life, as the official hosting site for their little power play. And they don't ask. They just tell. On the back, in looping, overconfident cursive. Call me if you have concerns. Karen Stample, HOA president. Well, all right, Karen. I grab a chair, dial the number, and she picks up on the third ring. Karen speaking. I tell her straight up, this has to be a mistake, right? I'm not in the HOA. Oh, but your property borders Summit Glade, she says, voice dripping with the kind of cheer that always means someone's about to hand you a shovel and a full ditch. We voted. It made sense, given your property's appeal. I cut her off, polite as I can manage. No, ma'am, I'm not honored. You're not using my home as a pit stop for a bunch of politicians. She's quiet for half a breath, then threatens, disguised as regret, that my refusal will go in some community report. The whole thing is theater, and I'm supposed to be the set. I hang up, hit record on my laptop mic, and document the call. My gut says this isn't over, and if there's one thing I've learned out here, it's to keep a paper trail when city folks come knocking. I charge my security cams, double-check the locks, and try, foolishly, to get some sleep. Morning comes loud. 7:30, gravel crunching on my driveway. Never a good sign. On the security feed, I see a white catering van, a black utility truck, and a little silver SUV lined up like a bad wedding party. Out of the SUV hops a guy in a neon vest, grinning up at the camera. I'm on the intercom before he gets a foot past the gate. State your purpose. He gives me that game show host smile, says, we're with Sierra Lead Events, HOA sent us. Governor's team, big day, tent, catering, restroom trailer, should be out of your hair by noon. I let out a sigh so loud I swear it scared off the birds. I walk out to meet them, boots on, not my problem t-shirt, just in case they miss the point. Vest guy hands me a laminated work order. Address matches, but my name is replaced with Glade Hospitality House, and there's no legal anything. You've got 90 seconds to turn around before I call the sheriff and log this as trespass. Their faces go from eager to sheepish real quick. They start packing. One guy mutters, sorry man, just doing the gig. I actually feel for him a little. But a job's a job, and this one's over. Now if you think that was the climax, you don't know HOAs, or Karen. 10 a.m. sharp, here she comes herself, rolling up in a matte gray Audi, bringing backup, a balding man in a vest and a woman who looks like she eats management training for breakfast. Karen steps out like she owns the mountain. Michael, she calls, syrupy menace in her voice. We need to have a conversation. She shoves a document through the gate, thick, old-looking, wax-stamped. Community Rights and Access Memorandum 1992, she says. In case of civic emergency, bordering properties may be used. I laugh in her face. The whole thing is obviously fake. No signatures, not notarized, a clause so vague it could apply to birthday parties or alien landings. You know this isn't legal, I tell her. You doctor this up, you're getting charged for it. She doesn't blink, just goes. Refusal to cooperate may be escalated to county mediation. I tear the document up, let the pieces fall between us. The balding guy tries to save face. Karen, maybe we should regroup. They pile back into the Audi, the management lady giving me the stink eye, and roll off. I file a report with the sheriff, order a new sign for my gate, and set every camera to high sensitivity. A couple hours pass, quiet but tense. Then more tires on gravel. This time it's the sheriff's department, 2 deputies, one of them Sergeant Bill Mororo, who I know for a fact lives in Summit Glade. Bill tries to play friendly. Afternoon, Michael. Just clearing up some confusion, community event, public disturbance, reports of you being uncooperative, I tell him, again, I am not part of the HOA, and they know it. He makes some noise about an old emergency hospitality agreement. Says Karen claims I tore up an official document. I offer to show him the footage of her handing me a fake memo. He leans on me, wants me to be neighborly. Let the delegation freshen up for a few hours. Is this an official request? I ask. No, nothing formal, just a courtesy, he says. Well, I respectfully decline your courtesy, I reply, and I suggest Karen cease all contact. He leaves, frowning, and the younger deputy is so uncomfortable he nearly trips on the way out. 15 minutes later, Channel 8 News sets up outside my gate, the reporter rehearsing a story about a hostile landowner. I stay inside, keep my mouth shut, and send everything to my lawyer Julia. She's already prepping cease and desists civil complaints and a packet for the real press. The HOA starts circling the wagons, literally. Slow SUV loops, nervous neighbors. Julia pulls county records, zoning maps. Turns out, not only am I outside the HOA, but there's an annotation in the planning files. No access permitted under HOA domain. Karen knew this the whole time. That night, I get a security alert. 3:51 a.m., figure in dark clothes, Summit Glade badge, tries the gate, flees. We file another complaint, this time naming Karen and the board as co-conspirators for trespass, harassment, abuse of emergency services. Julia's got the whole thing airtight and is already targeting their insurance. Now comes the twist, an anonymous email, burner account, Google Drive link. Inside, a mountain of HOA emails, Slack logs, meeting notes. Turns out, Karen and her board have been scheming for months. If we can get Torrance on board this one time, he's stuck. Implied consent, set precedent. They're using my land as a test run for annexing other properties. They've tried it before. At least 3 other border lots, some caved, some moved. One tried to fight but got zoning stonewalled by Karen's cousin. This isn't some one-off power trip. This is policy. Another neighbor, Dylan from Lot 22, shows up shaking, hands me a folder, photos, a sworn statement, proof of months of pressure. Julia files more charges, now naming specific board members, and the Chronicle runs the story nationwide. The HOA that went too far. The board's in panic mode, half resigned by morning, and Julia freezes their accounts, demands a court-appointed auditor. Karen tries to refuse the court papers. The process server just drops them at her feet. Then, the cherry on top, a blue-suited man from the governor's office knocks on my gate, off the record. Governor saw the news, he says, wanted to confirm if an HOA tried to requisition private property for his visit. I show him the forged memo. He reads it, curses, tells me the whole idea was Karen's. Governor never agreed. He asks me to clarify it wasn't the state's doing. I agree, because at this point, nothing's sweeter than knowing Karen's dug her own grave. Sheriff's Department launches a criminal investigation. Sergeant Mororo gets put on leave for inappropriate HOA involvement. Zoning board connections exposed. Lawsuits fly, Julia's motion for damages and public apology gets greenlit. Karen gets arrested in her garage, which is, fittingly, where she put the HOA's office. The judge's ruling, my land is private, permanently exempt, and the HOA is being dissolved by court order. Board members have to issue written apologies in the newspaper. I use the settlement money to build a new, beautiful steel gate, with a plaque that says, Private Mountain Estate, not a damn hotel. Trespassers will be prosecuted. And here's the kicker, I write a book, Stand Your Ground, How to Fight HOA Tyranny and Win. It blows up. People send their stories, veterans, widows, families. One group even ousted their own Karen after reading my guide. Julia calls it a movement. I just call it relief. So what's left? Karen's gone, the board's scattered, their newsletter's history. My land's still mine. Sometimes I look out at the hills, coffee in hand, and I remember what it felt like before the drama. Just quiet, just boundaries. You know, the kind worth fighting for. Let me ask you, where would you draw the line? When does community become tyranny? And what would you do if it came for your door? I want to hear your story. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about what real justice means out here, where the mountains don't care what kind of stationery you use.